Before a single request leaves your lips, before a sigh escapes your chest, before a thought even shapes into words, grace is already moving. It travels ahead of you like a silent messenger, arranging what your eyes cannot yet see. The path you're walking this morning isn't random. It's sacred ground prepared long before dawn. There's something deeply comforting in knowing that divine mercy doesn't wait for your permission. It anticipates your need. Before they call, I will answer. While they are still speaking, I will hear. Isaiah 65:24. Every moment that feels uncertain is actually surrounded by unseen preparation. God's faithfulness doesn't begin when you ask. It's been flowing since the beginning of time. The delays you feared were detours were actually protection. The silence that seemed endless was a soft whisper of alignment. Every unanswered prayer, every door that refused to open was a hidden invitation to trust. The Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Deuteronomy 31:8. The future isn't waiting to surprise you. It's already been written with grace. Sometimes you wake up carrying the weight of yesterday, unsure of what lies ahead. Yet God is already in the tomorrow you fear. He's already placed strength where weakness will meet you. He's already planted peace in the soil where anxiety might try to grow. You are stepping into a reality shaped by divine intention. Even the smallest details, timing, encounters, outcomes, are orchestrated by the one who knows your story from its first to final line. Consider how often heaven worked quietly in the background. When you were spared from harm you didn't notice. When an unexpected delay kept you from being in the wrong place. When a disappointment disguised itself as rejection but was actually redirection. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Psalm 23:6. Grace doesn't chase behind you. It runs before you and circles back to guide your steps. It's humbling to realize that what you feared losing was never meant to anchor you. God removes certain things not to punish but to prepare. His vision sees farther than your emotions allow. The promotion that didn't come, the friendship that faded, the season that ended, each was part of divine timing. My times are in your hands. Psalm 31:15. You are never late to what God has ordained. Every sunrise brings you closer to promises already unfolding. So lift your eyes today. Walk not as one hoping to be favored, but as one already favored. Grace is not a distant rescue. It is a presence woven into the fabric of every hour. You are not stumbling through chaos. You are being gently guided by hands that never let go. Rest in this truth. Even when your faith feels fragile, His plan remains firm. Pause now. Breathe deeply and let gratitude fill the spaces where fear used to live. Whisper thanks for what you know and for what's still hidden. The same God who began your journey has already completed the steps ahead. His mercy stands at every corner. His provision waits around every turn. Tell me in the comments, where are you watching from and what time does your morning begin? Let's see how grace unites souls across every horizon, each one touched by light that arrived long before the day began. There are seasons when heaven feels quiet, when your prayers seem to echo back unanswered, and your heart wonders if God has stepped away. Yet in that stillness, His hands are not idle. The silence is not abandonment. It's strategy. Just as a seed grows in the dark before breaking the soil, God's plans often unfold in hidden places. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. Stillness is not inaction. It's sacred cooperation with divine timing. You might not see movement, but the absence of sound doesn't mean the absence of work. In those waiting hours, heaven is arranging outcomes that align with your destiny. The tears you shed in solitude are being gathered. The prayers you whisper in weakness are being recorded. And the faith you cling to in the night is shaping the dawn that's coming. Those who sow in tears will reap with songs of joy. Psalm 126:5. What you think is delay is often a rehearsal for breakthrough. When your heart feels restless, remember that divine preparation always takes time. You don't plant a tree and demand fruit in the same hour. God isn't withholding blessings. He's refining your readiness. Sometimes He hides what you desire until you've learned to trust His timing more than your plans. Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord. Psalm 27:14. Waiting is not wasted time. It's sacred ground where faith matures. There are moments when you'll want to take control, to push forward, to force what seems overdue. But grace doesn't rush. God moves with precision, not pressure. His pace is perfect, even when it challenges your patience. Every divine pause is pregnant with purpose. The silence of today may very well be the sound of tomorrow's miracle taking form. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Ecclesiastes 3:11. Beauty rarely appears at the start. It blooms when the season is ripe. The truth is, some of the most powerful moves of God happen behind the curtain. He is not absent. He is arranging. He is not ignoring. He is interceding. The stillness that feels unbearable is actually the moment your faith learns to breathe without sight. And one day when the answer finally arrives, you'll realize it was being prepared all along. So while you wait, choose peace instead of panic, rest instead of worry, worship instead of question. The silence is not a void. It's a promise under construction. The God who parted seas and opened tombs is still in control of the timing. For still the vision awaits its appointed time. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay. Habakkuk 2:3. Every sunrise is proof that waiting has meaning. The night does not last forever, and neither will your uncertainty. There will come a day when you'll look back and thank God for every quiet moment that built your trust. You'll see how the silence spoke louder than words. Each step you take today walks upon ground that grace has already shaped. You may not see the full road ahead, but heaven has already traced every curve, every stone, every open door. There is nothing random about your journey. The detours, the pauses, even the heartbreaks, all are woven into a design much larger than your understanding. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119:105. The lamp doesn't reveal the whole way, but it gives enough light for the next faithful step. When you follow God, you walk into spaces where His presence has already gone before you. That interview, that new beginning, that challenge you fear, grace is already standing there waiting to welcome you. What feels like uncertainty to you is actually precision to Him. He arranges circumstances with divine accuracy so that your timing aligns perfectly with His purpose. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He shall direct your paths. Proverbs 3:5-6. The direction you seek doesn't come from clarity. It comes from surrender. Sometimes the road to your blessing feels like a wilderness. You may not feel the warmth of His hand, yet He never withdraws it. The Israelites wandered for years, but not 1 mile was outside God's awareness. The manna didn't appear by accident. The water from the rock wasn't coincidence. It was preparation, long before need. The same is true for you. Long before you prayed for provision, God had already placed it along your path. Even the closed roads serve a holy purpose. A no can be divine redirection. You may not understand it now, but one day you'll thank Him for the doors that didn't open because they would have led to places that couldn't hold the blessing He had in store. We know that in all things, God works for the good of those who love Him. Romans 8:28. All things, joy and sorrow, gain and loss, are instruments of divine harmony. Think of your life as a tapestry viewed from the back. You see tangled threads and knots that make no sense. But God sees the front side, where every color, every thread, forms a perfect image of redemption. Each delay, each struggle, is a thread of grace being carefully placed. When the time comes, He will turn it around, and the pattern will finally reveal His beauty. So, walk today with quiet confidence. The road is not uncertain, it's simply unseen. Every step you take in faith activates the plans already written in heaven. For we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. You don't have to know how the next chapter unfolds. You only need to trust the author who has already finished your story. If your heart trembles at the unknown, remember, you are not walking toward grace, you are walking with grace. It moves beside you, surrounds you, and paves the way before you. The path is not empty, it's holy ground, marked by footprints of love that never miss their way. So often you look for miracles wrapped in thunder and lightning, expecting God's voice to roar through the clouds. But grace rarely makes noise. It appears quietly, in daily bread, in a gentle word, in the strength to keep going when you thought you couldn't. The divine provision doesn't always look supernatural at first glance. Sometimes it hides within the ordinary. Give us this day our daily bread. Matthew 6:11. That prayer is not just about food. It's about recognizing God in the smallest, most familiar details of life. Each morning carries evidence of His foresight. The sunlight that warms your face, the breath that fills your lungs, the kindness of a stranger. These are not random moments. They are answers to prayers you didn't know how to form. God often meets your needs before you even have words for them. My God will meet all your needs according to the riches of His glory in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:19. His supply never runs dry. It simply arrives disguised as the ordinary until faith opens your eyes to see it. When the Israelites wandered through the desert, they didn't find banquets waiting. They found manna, simple, daily sustenance falling from heaven. Enough for today, no more, no less. That's how grace works. It doesn't overwhelm you with abundance all at once. It teaches you to trust in portions. Every sunrise carries the exact measure of strength you'll need for that day. The God who fed millions with morning dew hasn't changed. He still provides in perfect timing. But sometimes the problem isn't the lack of provision. It's our inability to recognize it. We wait for grand answers while ignoring quiet blessings. The friend who calls at the right moment, the peace that suddenly calms your heart, the opportunity that seems small but leads to something greater. All of these are grace in motion. Do not despise these small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin. Zechariah 4:10. What feels insignificant today might be the foundation of tomorrow's miracle. If you pause long enough, you'll realize your life is a collection of divine interruptions. Each delay, each unexpected shift carried hidden provision. You didn't lose time, you were being positioned. You didn't miss your chance, you were being prepared. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. Psalm 23:1. Nothing truly necessary is ever withheld from you. Only delayed until the moment it will bless you, not break you. The more you open your heart to gratitude, the easier it becomes to see these threads of grace. Gratitude doesn't change what you have. It changes how you see what's been there all along. Even in your challenges, provision flows in ways that escape logic. God hides answers in people, places, and moments that seem ordinary because He wants you to learn to see Him everywhere. So look again at your day, not with tired eyes, but with renewed awareness. Somewhere in the simple routine, a miracle is waiting to be noticed. Grace may not always shout, but it always shows up. And when you recognize it, peace takes root, faith deepens, and your soul learns to rest in quiet assurance that God has already gone ahead of you. There are moments when waiting feels unbearable, when the days stretch into months and the silence of heaven feels heavier than any burden you carry. You pray, you hope, you do everything you can, and still the door doesn't open. Yet what if that delay was never denial, but protection? What if God was keeping you from a path that looked like a blessing but would have broken your spirit later? The Lord is good to those who wait for Him, to the soul who seeks Him. Lamentations 3:25. Waiting becomes holy when you understand that love often says, "Not yet," for your good. It's easy to believe that a delay means God has forgotten, but He never loses track of your timeline. He's simply aligning it with something greater than you can perceive. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. Isaiah 55:8. His timing doesn't operate on human schedules. It flows according to eternity's rhythm. The prayer that seems unanswered today may already be completed in tomorrow's season. You just haven't arrived there yet. Think about the story of Lazarus. Jesus delayed his arrival for 4 days, long enough for the situation to appear hopeless. But when He came, life walked into death's territory. The delay became the stage for resurrection. What you perceive as absence may actually be preparation for glory. If Jesus had come earlier, there would have been healing. But by coming later, He revealed resurrection. Sometimes God withholds what you want to give you something that transforms you. When the door remains closed, it's not always punishment. It can be preservation. He sees what's ahead. Maybe that opportunity would have led to heartbreak. Maybe that relationship would have drained your purpose. Maybe that yes you were desperate for would have made you settle for less than His best. He makes all things beautiful in its time. Ecclesiastes 3:11. The beauty of divine timing lies in its restraint. He holds back until the moment will not destroy you. You don't need to chase what God has already prepared. The blessing meant for you will never need to be forced. When your heart feels impatient, remind yourself that divine timing is not delay, it's design. The same God who held the stars in place is holding your promise steady until your heart is ready to receive it. The steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. Psalm 37:23. Every pause is a step within a larger plan. In hindsight, you'll see it clearly. The heartbreak that made you cry ended up freeing you. The rejection that hurt became redirection. The season you thought was wasted taught you dependence. Every delay was, in truth, deliverance, saving you from settling for less than grace intended. So rest, even when progress feels slow. You are not behind, you are being refined. The silence between prayer and answer is not a void. It's the sound of heaven preparing a perfect intersection between faith and fulfillment. For the vision awaits its appointed time. Though it linger, wait for it, it will surely come. Habakkuk 2:3. Let patience become your worship, and trust your greatest testimony. The promise isn't late. It's just getting ready to arrive in a way that leaves no doubt it was God all along. Before your alarm rings, before the weight of the day greets you, strength is already waiting at your side. You might not feel it right away, but heaven always delivers enough grace for the hours ahead. You don't have to summon courage from within. It flows from above. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. Strength doesn't begin when the battle starts. It begins before you even know one is coming. How often have you faced something you thought would crush you, only to discover a resilience you didn't know you had? That wasn't coincidence. That was divine preparation. God strengthens you in quiet moments so that when storms rise, your spirit stands unshaken. The Lord is my strength and my shield. My heart trusts in him, and he helps me. Psalm 28:7. His help often arrives disguised as peace that doesn't make sense, or calm in the middle of chaos. It's not the absence of fear. It's faith louder than fear. Every morning brings a new portion of endurance. You don't draw from yesterday's reserve. God renews it daily. Because of the Lord's great love, we are not consumed, for his compassions never fail. They are new every morning. Lamentations 3:22-23. That means you'll never wake up without enough grace for the day ahead. The challenge may look overwhelming, but so did the Red Sea, and still it parted. Sometimes strength isn't visible. It hides in perseverance, in the quiet decision to keep believing, in the steady breath that whispers, "I'll try again." The world celebrates loud victories, but heaven applauds the unseen courage that refuses to give up. Be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Joshua 1:9. His presence transforms fragility into fortitude. When fatigue whispers that you've reached your limit, remember, you are not drawing from your own supply. Divine strength doesn't run out because it doesn't originate in you. It's not borrowed energy. It's an unbroken flow from the one who never tires. He gives strength to the weary and increases the power of the weak. Isaiah 40:29. The same power that raised Christ from the grave pulses through your spirit. There will be moments when you wake up heavy, unsure how to face what's next. That's when grace becomes tangible. You may not feel strong, but you will not fall. Every step you take becomes a testimony that endurance is not born from human will. It's born from divine companionship. God doesn't just watch you fight, he fights within you. So today, when worry tries to claim your mind, remember this truth. Strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's the quiet rhythm of faith choosing to keep walking. You are not empty, you are equipped. Heaven already prepared enough courage, wisdom, and peace for everything the day will bring. Has there been a time when you discovered strength you didn't know you had, right when you needed it most? Share your story below. Your words might help someone find the courage waiting quietly inside them today. There are mornings when you sense the clouds forming before the rain begins, when you can feel in your spirit that something heavy is approaching. In those moments, anxiety tries to whisper that you'll be alone in the storm. But long before the thunder rolls, God is already standing in the middle of it, clearing a path for your safety. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and when you pass through the rivers, they will not sweep over you. Isaiah 43:2. The storm may come, but it cannot claim you. Before every trial, there is preparation. You may not notice it until later, but grace always arrives earlier than the trouble it's meant to carry you through. God doesn't scramble to help you when life gets hard. He equips you beforehand. The strength, patience, and wisdom you've been developing in quieter seasons are not wasted. They are divine armor being fitted in advance. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Psalm 23:5. The table isn't set after the battle. It's ready before it even begins. When winds rise, you might wonder why peace feels hidden. But peace isn't gone. It's standing in the same place as the storm, waiting for your awareness to catch up. Sometimes, grace doesn't remove the difficulty. It steadies your heart in the middle of it. He stilled the storm to a whisper. The waves of the sea were hushed. Psalm 107:29. What terrified the disciples became a platform for revelation. They discovered that even winds and waves obey his voice. You've likely walked through storms that once felt unbearable, and yet here you are, still breathing, still believing. That's evidence that grace didn't just follow you, it shielded you. You might not have seen the unseen angels surrounding you or the countless dangers you were spared from, but heaven was active when everything seemed still. God never promises the absence of storms, but he guarantees his presence within them. It's comforting to realize that before trouble ever reaches you, it must first pass through his permission. And even then, it arrives carrying purpose. We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair. 2 Corinthians 4:8. The storm doesn't define you, it refines you. It teaches your soul to listen for God's whisper in the wind, to trust his control when visibility fades. Maybe you're in a storm right now, one that tests your endurance and faith. Remember this: the same God who commands the sunrise commands the storm. He doesn't panic at its power, he controls it. Every gust, every wave, every delay carries a reason known only to him. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Stillness in the storm isn't weakness, it's worship. It's trusting that the one who goes before you will bring you through with peace still intact. And when the rain finally stops, you'll realize the storm didn't destroy you. It revealed how deeply you were held. The wind may have been fierce, but it only removed what couldn't stay. In its aftermath, faith stands stronger, roots grow deeper, and gratitude blooms where fear once lived. There are pieces of your life that feel too shattered to rebuild. Places where loss has left deep marks, and you wonder if wholeness is possible again. Yet grace specializes in what human hands cannot restore. Long before you knew how to pray for healing, God was already gathering the fragments. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. Psalm 147:3. His mercy doesn't erase the cracks. It turns them into windows through which his light can shine. Some wounds don't disappear overnight. Healing is not always a single miracle. Sometimes it's a quiet process that unfolds like sunrise, slow, consistent, faithful. And in that process, God's hand works gently. He doesn't rush your restoration. He sits beside your pain and begins to weave redemption through it. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Psalm 34:18. His closeness is the medicine your soul didn't know it needed. You might look at what's been damaged, relationships, dreams, confidence, and think it's beyond repair. But grace does not rebuild by restoring things to what they were. It transforms them into something greater. The scar becomes a story, the pain becomes perspective, and the loss becomes a lesson soaked in divine wisdom. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him. Romans 8:28. Notice, all things, not just the good days, but the heartbreaks, the failures, the silent nights of wondering why. There's beauty in knowing that nothing truly breaks beyond God's reach. Even your mistakes, the choices you wish you could undo, are raw materials in his hands. What guilt tries to bury, grace resurrects. If anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old has gone, the new is here. 2 Corinthians 5:17. You are not defined by what fell apart. You are defined by the one who is rebuilding you from within. Sometimes you'll see evidence of healing only in hindsight. One morning, you'll wake up and realize the ache that once consumed you has quieted. The tears that once burned have dried into gratitude. That's how grace moves, quietly, persistently, with the kind of patience that outlasts your pain. He makes all things new. Revelation 21:5. New doesn't always mean restored to its former state. It means transformed into something that never existed before. If you've been trying to fix what only God can heal, take a breath and release it. Restoration doesn't depend on your strength, but on your surrender. Stop picking at the pieces. Let grace hold them. The miracle begins not when you fix everything, but when you trust the one who already has. And even now, he's working in the unseen. The wound you think will never close is already being softened by compassion. The emptiness you feel is being filled with purpose. Grace doesn't just mend, it redefines. So lift your head today. The pieces of your story are not wasted. They're becoming a mosaic of mercy. What once hurt will soon become the very thing that heals others through your testimony. Sometimes the greatest miracle isn't the solution itself. It's the calm that settles long before the situation changes. You pray for answers, for visible shifts, for signs that something is moving, but instead, God sends peace. That peace is not a substitute for breakthrough. It's the first sign that heaven is already at work. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Philippians 4:7. Peace arrives before resolution because it's proof that grace is already one step ahead. There's a sacred mystery in how peace operates. It doesn't erase the storm. It simply anchors you in it. When everything around you feels unstable, peace becomes your steady foundation. It is heaven's quiet announcement that what's unsettled in your life is already settled in God's plan. You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you. Isaiah 26:3. The mind that leans on divine faithfulness cannot be shaken by temporary uncertainty. Often you'll find yourself still waiting, circumstances unchanged, prayers seemingly unanswered, and yet a stillness begins to fill the space where anxiety once lived. That stillness is not weakness. It's strength disguised as surrender. It's your spirit whispering, "I don't see it yet, but I know he's working." Be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. Philippians 4:6. Gratitude opens the door to peace even while you wait. The world teaches that peace comes after resolution, but faith knows it begins before. God's presence doesn't always bring immediate answers. It brings assurance. The storm outside might not stop, but the storm inside quiets. When you begin to trust that the outcome is already in His hands, anxiety loses its grip. The peace that surpasses understanding is not logical. It's supernatural. It's the echo of eternity whispering, "You are safe." When your heart begins to rest in that truth, everything changes. You start walking differently, less hurried, less fearful, more aware that every moment is already covered by grace. Even if nothing else shifts externally, the transformation within you is a victory. Let the peace of Christ rule in your hearts, since as members of one body you were called to peace. Colossians 3:15. Notice, it says rule. That means peace isn't a visitor, it's meant to reign. So when your prayers seem suspended in silence, do not assume heaven has forgotten. The peace arriving in the waiting is a signal that the answer is already being formed. You may not hold it yet, but your spirit has already received it. Peace is faith's language, the quiet confidence that divine timing cannot fail. If you can rest before you receive, you have already won the battle. The moment peace takes root, fear loses authority. You no longer need to chase clarity. You begin to dwell in trust. The Lord gives strength to His people. The Lord blesses His people with peace. Psalm 29:11. That blessing is not postponed. It's present right now. So breathe deeply. The peace surrounding you is not temporary. It's a promise. You are standing in the calm that was prepared before you even knew a storm was coming. Not every battle you face is meant to destroy you. Some are designed to reveal what's been hidden within you. God doesn't allow conflict to crush His children. He uses it to cultivate strength, faith, and clarity. Every challenge is an invitation to see His power at work in new dimensions. Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial because, having stood the test, That person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. James 1:12. Even the struggle carries blessing within it. There are days when the fight feels endless, when you've prayed, endured, and still can't see results. Yet, if you look deeper, you'll notice subtle growth. You're more patient now. You pray differently. You've learned that faith isn't proven in comfort, but in confrontation. Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. James 1:2-3. Perseverance is heaven's way of turning pressure into purpose. The enemy often targets you most fiercely where your calling is strongest. The battle around your peace is proof that peace is powerful. The resistance around your dream reveals its value. What feels like opposition is often confirmation. No weapon formed against you shall prosper. Isaiah 54:17. That verse doesn't say weapons won't form. It promises they won't prevail. God allows some storms not to break you, but to announce your breakthrough. Think of David standing before Goliath. The same battlefield that terrified others became the place where God's favor was revealed. Without the giant, David would have remained unseen. The very thing that threatens you may be the platform that elevates you. What looks like chaos could be divine choreography. You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good. Genesis 50:20. That's how grace works. It turns every attack into testimony. Even when the struggle feels unfair, remember that your tears are never wasted. Heaven counts them. Those who sow with tears will reap with songs of joy. Psalm 126:5. Every sleepless night, every moment of confusion, every sigh of exhaustion is being collected and converted into strength. The pain you endure today is shaping endurance for tomorrow. You are not losing. You are being trained for victory. Sometimes you'll only understand the blessing in hindsight. The disappointment that broke your heart may have redirected you toward destiny. The betrayal that wounded you may have freed you from false peace. The loss that felt unbearable may have made space for a deeper, lasting joy. Every battle is a doorway, not a dead end. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. 2 Corinthians 4:17. The weight you feel now is nothing compared to the glory being formed within you. So, instead of asking, "Why me?" try asking, "What is this shaping in me?" Faith transforms pain into purpose. The battle may be intense, but it's temporary, and it always ends with blessing. The hands that allowed the storm are the same hands that will lift you from it. You're not fighting for victory. You're fighting from victory already won. Waiting is one of the hardest classrooms of faith. It's the place where your prayers feel unanswered, your dreams seem delayed, and your strength begins to waver. Yet beneath that tension, something holy is being formed. Waiting doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means heaven is shaping what can't yet be seen. The Lord is good to those whose hope is in him, to the one who seeks him. It is good to wait quietly for the salvation of the Lord. Lamentations 3:25-26. The quiet you fear is the soil where miracles take root. You may not realize it, but waiting is not wasted time. It's sacred development. God is never late. He's always right on time, even when his timing stretches your patience. The delay is not denial. It's the rhythm of divine preparation, for still the vision awaits its appointed time. It hastens to the end. It will not lie. If it seems slow, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not delay. Habakkuk 2:3. What you're waiting for might not just change your circumstances. It may be shaping your heart, so you're ready to carry the blessing once it arrives. Sometimes God hides movement in stillness. When you can't see progress, he's working in the background, aligning opportunities, softening hearts, removing distractions, and fortifying your spirit. What seems like silence is actually strategy. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him. Psalm 37:7. Stillness doesn't mean stagnation. It's an act of trust, a declaration that his timing is perfect, even when it feels uncomfortable. The truth is, waiting reveals what you truly believe. It exposes whether you trust God's hand or only his pace. The Israelites wandered for 40 years, but even in their delay, manna never stopped falling, water never stopped flowing, and God's presence never withdrew. Waiting didn't mean abandonment, it meant refinement. And through it, they learned dependence, humility, and perseverance. You might be in that wilderness right now, questioning why things haven't shifted. But what if the waiting is not about what's coming, but who you're becoming through it? Each day you choose faith over frustration, you grow stronger. Each moment you rest in God instead of rushing ahead, you step closer to peace. But they that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. Isaiah 40:31. Waiting builds wings. It doesn't break them. One day you'll look back and realize that the season you thought was silence was actually one of divine setup. You'll see how everything came together precisely when it was meant to, not a moment too soon or too late. And you'll thank God not just for the blessing, but for the patience He taught you while preparing it. So breathe through the pause. Trust through the stillness. The God who began your story hasn't stopped writing it. Every unanswered prayer is a seed planted in time, waiting for the perfect light to bloom. Wonder is born in the waiting, because faith learns to see what eyes cannot. Every promise God has whispered over your life carries completion written into it. What He begins, He never abandons. Even when you lose focus, even when you drift, His purpose keeps unfolding in quiet, steady rhythm. Being confident of this, that He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion until the day of Christ Jesus. Philippians 1:6. Your story isn't half written, it's still in progress, being refined by hands that never fail. Sometimes the middle of the journey feels endless. You look around and see no evidence of progress, only uncertainty. Yet, faith is built not by what you see, but by trusting that God's craftsmanship doesn't rush. The Lord will perfect that which concerns me. Your mercy, O Lord, endures forever. Psalm 138:8. Even when it feels like nothing is happening, the potter is still shaping the clay. He hasn't forgotten you. He's just forming you for what's next. Every unfinished prayer, every unfulfilled dream, every season that feels stuck is still moving under His supervision. He is a finisher by nature. The same God who spoke galaxies into motion doesn't leave His creations halfway done. God is not human, that He should lie, not a human being, that He should change His mind. Numbers 23:19. When He said He would restore you, He meant it. When He promised to provide, He already began arranging it. What you think is delay is often the deliberate precision of divine timing. There are moments when you feel like you've fallen too far behind for God to restore what was lost. But grace doesn't count the way time does. His plans don't expire because of your detours. He can pick up the story from any page and still lead it to victory. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. Hope is not something you chase. It's something God keeps alive until you're ready to see it. When life feels fragmented, remember that the author of your destiny never stops writing. Each hardship becomes a paragraph of strength, each prayer a sentence of faith, each tear a comma, not a period. Nothing ends until God says it's finished, and when He finishes something, it's always beautiful. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Ecclesiastes 3:11. Even your failures can't void His promises. Grace doesn't erase the past, it repurposes it. The moments that seemed wasted are being redeemed in ways you'll only understand later. One day, you'll look back and see how the scattered chapters formed a masterpiece of mercy. So keep walking, even if you can't yet see the destination. Keep believing, even when progress feels invisible. God doesn't write incomplete endings. Every promise He planted in your heart is alive, unfolding at the pace of eternity, not impatience. The one who began your story already knows the closing line, redemption. When He finishes, it won't just make sense. It will make you stronger, wiser, and more at peace than you ever imagined. There are seasons when life feels dim, when the nights stretch longer than your hope, and you wonder if dawn will ever return. Yet even then, light is never gone. It's only hidden for a moment. God's presence doesn't disappear in darkness. It shines through it. Even the darkness will not be dark to you. The night will shine like the day, for darkness is as light to you. Psalm 139:12. The shadows you fear are often the places where His light works most deeply. You may not see how, but grace glows quietly in the places where you thought you were forgotten. When your prayers feel unanswered, when peace seems out of reach, that's when God's presence draws nearest. His light doesn't just illuminate your path, it warms your heart so you can keep walking. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Psalm 27:1. When fear rises, light reminds you that you're not abandoned. You're being guided. Sometimes darkness teaches lessons that daylight never could. It's in the night seasons that your faith learns to listen instead of see. It's there that you discover that peace doesn't depend on circumstances but on companionship, the companionship of a God who never sleeps. When I sit in darkness, the Lord will be a light to me. Micah 7:8. You're never truly lost. You're being led toward revelation. Even in your lowest valley, light travels faster than despair. The night can't silence what heaven has spoken over your life. God doesn't wait for things to get better before he shines. He brings the light because things are dark. Think of Paul and Silas in prison, surrounded by chains and stone walls, yet their praise became the key that unlocked freedom. The darker the place, the brighter grace glows. It's easy to equate light with comfort, but sometimes light is clarity. It exposes what was hidden, heals what was wounded, and reveals that the very path you feared was the one leading you home. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119:105. You don't need to see the whole road, just enough to take the next faithful step. The truth is, you don't find the light, it finds you. No depth, no mistake, no heartbreak is beyond its reach. God's light doesn't shame you for stumbling, it gently guides you back. Each morning sunrise is proof that the night always yields. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Psalm 35. That promise isn't poetic, it's personal. It means your darkness has an expiration date. So if you feel like you're standing in shadows today, lift your eyes. The light is already on its way. You don't need to chase it, it's been sent ahead of you. Even when your world feels dim, remember that dawn doesn't depend on your strength to appear. God commands it. The same voice that said, "Let there be light," still speaks over your life every morning. Have you ever walked through a dark time and later realized God's light was guiding you all along? Share in the comments. Your reflection may be the light someone else needs in their night. There are doors in life that refuse to move no matter how hard you push, opportunities that seem out of reach, relationships that remain distant, and dreams that feel locked away. You knock, you pray, and still nothing shifts. But sometimes, those closed doors are not rejection. They are divine redirection. God doesn't deny your steps, he protects them. What he opens, no one can shut, and what he shuts, no one can open. Revelation 3:7. The same hand that withholds is the one preparing to release something better. Grace opens doors that strength never could. When it's God's time, no wall can stand, no obstacle can block the way. I have placed before you an open door that no one can shut. Revelation 3:8. Notice, it says, I have placed. It's already done. It's waiting for your readiness. Sometimes heaven delays access until your heart can handle what's behind the door. That's not punishment. It's protection from premature blessing. There are moments when God lets you stand before a closed door to teach you that faith is not found in forcing things open, but in trusting that what's meant for you won't require striving. The door you keep trying to unlock with effort may open easily when approached with surrender. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in him, and he will act. Psalm 37:5. Grace works differently. It opens without noise, without struggle, and always on time. Think about Joseph, betrayed and forgotten in prison. For years, no door opened. But when the appointed time came, the gate swung wide, and in a single day, he went from prisoner to ruler. Nothing changed because of his effort. It changed because of God's decree. At the right time, I, the Lord, will make it happen. Isaiah 60:22. Timing is heaven's key. You don't have to rattle the handle. Just stay faithful in the hallway. Sometimes God closes certain doors to preserve your purpose. The opportunity you lost, the friendship that ended, the plan that failed, they were never meant to imprison you. They were rerouting you to something greater. Many are the plans in a person's heart, but it is the Lord's purpose that prevails. Proverbs 19:21. Closed doors are not the end of the story. They are the punctuation marks between chapters of growth. If you find yourself staring at a door that will not open, don't let frustration win. Sit with peace instead of panic. Remember that what's yours will never require you to compromise your peace to obtain it. God's favor doesn't arrive through exhaustion. It arrives through alignment. The right door won't just open. It will welcome you in. And once it does, you'll realize it wasn't just an entrance. It was a passage into maturity, purpose, and renewed faith. So instead of asking when the door will open, begin asking how God is preparing you for what's beyond it. Because grace doesn't just unlock, it equips. When the handle finally turns, you'll be ready not only to walk through, but to thrive once you do. You probably heard that God's timing is perfect, yet living through that truth often feels like walking blindfolded through a maze. There are moments when everything inside you screams that it's taking too long, that you've missed your opportunity, that heaven must have forgotten. But time in God's hands doesn't move by human clocks. It moves by purpose. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Ecclesiastes 3:11. Not before, not after. In its time. Beauty appears when the appointed moment arrives, not a second sooner. Every unanswered prayer carries a divine rhythm. The waiting stretches faith until it can hold what's coming. If blessings arrived at your demand, they would break under the weight of impatience. God delays not to deny, but to develop. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. Habakkuk 2:3. Delay is often the space where your heart matures to match your destiny. Think of the seed buried in the soil. To the untrained eye, it looks forgotten, yet beneath the ground, it's transforming. The pressure of the dirt isn't punishment, it's preparation. The seed needs time to grow roots strong enough to hold its fruit. You're that seed. Your silence, your waiting, your stretching. It's not stagnation, it's transformation. When the season shifts, what once seemed lifeless will suddenly bloom. The Lord will fulfill His purpose for me. Your steadfast love, O Lord, endures forever. Psalm 138:8. When things don't unfold as quickly as you hoped, it's easy to compare your timeline to others. But divine timing is never competitive, it's custom. The God who painted galaxies knows exactly when your light should appear. He doesn't rush brilliance, He perfects it. To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. You don't need to chase what's yours. When the time is right, it will find you. Sometimes God allows delay because He's aligning other hearts, shifting unseen circumstances, or protecting you from premature exposure. The door you wanted last year might have crushed you if it opened too soon. The relationship you prayed for might have derailed your growth. The dream you thought was dying was actually being refined. The Lord is not slow in keeping His promise, as some understand slowness. Instead, He is patient with you. 2 Peter 3:9. His patience is not distance, it's mercy. When the waiting finally ends, you'll see the tapestry of timing with fresh eyes. You'll realize that the pieces you once resented were perfectly fitted, each delay turning into design. The peace you find in hindsight will teach you that nothing was wasted, not even the pauses that broke your heart. So rest your anxious mind. You are not behind. You are right where eternity planned you to be. The same God who raised the sun at the perfect second knows when to unfold your next season. His timing isn't just accurate, it's intimate. Every minute of waiting is being used to craft something eternal in you. There are days when you feel like you've reached the edge of your strength, when your faith feels thin, your heart exhausted, and your prayers weaker than before. Yet even then, grace doesn't run dry. It's not a resource that depletes with use. It's an endless river flowing straight from God's heart. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. When you reach your limit, that's where divine abundance begins. Grace doesn't depend on your performance. It doesn't fluctuate based on how strong you feel or how consistent you've been. It flows steadily, even through your doubts. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Lamentations 3:22-23. That means every sunrise brings a fresh portion of mercy designed exactly for that day. You never wake up empty, you wake up supplied. When you stumble, grace doesn't step back. It steps closer. It doesn't say, "You should have done better." It whispers, "I'm still here." The world teaches that love is earned through perfection, but God's grace is given through persistence, His persistence to never let go. You can't outrun it, out-sin it, or outwear it. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Psalm 23:6. Grace doesn't just follow, it pursues, because it refuses to lose you. Even in the seasons where you feel far from God, His grace is working quietly, rearranging circumstances, softening hearts, and drawing you back home. Sometimes grace is not loud. It's the gentle push that keeps you moving when you want to stop. He gives power to the faint, and to him who has no might, He increases strength. Isaiah 40:29. The exhaustion you feel is not evidence of failure. It's an invitation to lean on the source that never fades. Think of Peter after his denial. He failed publicly, yet when Jesus rose, He went looking for Peter personally. That's what grace does. It doesn't discard the fallen, it restores them. It lifts you out of shame and reminds you that your story isn't over. Where sin increased, grace increased all the more. Romans 5:20. No mistake can disqualify a heart that turns back toward love. You are not defined by the moments when you ran out of strength, but by the endless mercy that met you there. Grace doesn't just rescue, it renews. It rebuilds the weary spirit and reminds you that nothing you face is greater than the one who walks beside you. So if you're weary today, stop striving. Rest in the assurance that grace is already flowing, filling every empty space, mending every break, and breathing life back into what feels lost. You don't have to deserve it. You only need to receive it. Grace was here before you failed, and it will still be here when you rise again. Tomorrow doesn't have to frighten you, because grace has already gone ahead. It's waiting quietly in the hours you haven't yet lived, in the choices you haven't yet made, in the challenges you haven't yet faced. The Lord Himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Deuteronomy 31:8. You don't step into an empty future. You step into one that has already been prepared with love. Even when you worry about what's coming, heaven is already there. The job you might need, the conversation you fear, the healing you long for, all of it has already been touched by divine preparation. God doesn't react to time, He rules over it. Every tomorrow is already shaped by mercy. Before they call, I will answer. While they are still speaking, I will hear. Isaiah 65:24. That means your prayers are met by grace that's been waiting since before you spoke them. You've walked through enough storms by now to know that the same hand that carried you yesterday will carry you again. The future is not a threat. It's a continuation of God's faithfulness. Surely your goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. Psalm 23:6. Notice it says all, not some, not most. His goodness doesn't run out halfway. It endures until eternity embraces you fully. When you think about the unknown, remember that every place you will go has already been walked by grace. Every need has a provision waiting to meet it. Every question has an answer written in advance. You won't have to figure it out alone. God's timing will escort you step by step. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future. Jeremiah 29:11. You may not know what the next chapter holds, but you can be certain of the author. The same God who began your story with care will finish it with beauty. You don't need to predict every detail. Just stay faithful in the present moment, because that's where tomorrow's blessings begin. The peace you plant today becomes the harvest you'll walk through tomorrow. When fear tries to convince you that the future is uncertain, answer with faith. It's not uncertain, it's secured. Grace has already been written into it. You will find strength when you need it, doors when it's time to walk through them, and peace that greets you in every dawn. The God who goes before you doesn't prepare scarcity, He prepares abundance. So rest tonight without anxiety about what's next. The future doesn't hold surprises for God. He's already filling it with divine appointments, hidden blessings, and quiet miracles that will unfold exactly when they're meant to. What feels unpredictable to you is already perfectly planned by Him. As you look ahead, What part of your future do you need to surrender to God's timing and grace? Share below. Your trust might inspire someone else to release their worries and believe that tomorrow is already held by love.